This episode is brought to you by our friends at 5 Star Tuning. They have decades of experience in custom truck and car tuning and customization. They have tuning solutions for the latest F-Series trucks, the Ford Bronco, and most other popular trucks and off-roaders. Check them out using the link in the description below. Welcome to the world debut of the all-new 2023 Ford Super Duty heavy-duty truck. I said all new, so this is what Ford is saying. They're calling this an all-new truck. Is it? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you all the way around it, all the features, technologies, capabilities. We'll touch on everything, and we'll see, is it all new or is it not? Or is it just a refresh, redesign? So let's start with the chassis and the styling. So the last major change for the Super Duty was 2017 model year, where they went with a full new frame, fully boxed, and really, really heavy duty, and they kind of made a huge leap over the Super Duty that preceded it. Then in 2020, of course, as you saw, they've updated the powertrains and such. Now they're calling this all new. So let's start with kind of the profile. So first of all, the configurations will remain the same. So the size of the truck, physical size, does not change. Here you see the crew cab, they call Super Crew, with a 6 3/4 inch bed. There's also an 8-foot bed available, of course. And 2-door cabs, regular cab, extended cab, they call Super Cab, and of course Super Crew. All that is continues on. And then the chassis mainly remains the same, except they tell me that they updated, first of all, the axles. Well, let's walk around here in the back. So the axles are updated all the way up to 12.4 inch. So these are massive axles across the board. So they've done some axle updates, also suspension tuning, so you can see the leafs in this case. So it's still a solid rear axle, leaf springs, depending on the configuration and the weight carrying loads. And of course the front solid axle with coils, coil springs in the front. So that was tweaked for this year as well. And then they did this. They updated the hitches. So as you can see here, I believe this is a 2.5 inch receiver. And they made new hoops. And also the connections between the hitch and the frame underneath. It's hard to see right now. But that has also been upgraded. And they're saying they had to do that to increase the towing capabilities here, and also, of course, with the fifth wheel and the gooseneck hitches that mount inside the bed as well. So I don't have all the numbers right now because this is still a brand new vehicle. 2023 they're calling it. It's going to be out next year. So when we get closer to the available production dates, we'll get more numbers. But right now, the Super Duty is rated in a certain configuration at about 7,850 pounds of maximum payload and 37,000 pounds of towing. Those are for dually trucks and gas or diesel trucks. You have to be very precise when you talk about those numbers. And they're targeting maybe even moving those numbers up a bit. So I don't have the numbers, but they're targeting class-leading numbers for that. The truck you see right here is the top-of-the-line limited trim, or at least one of the variations on the limited trim. And believe it or not, they said they wanted to make this truck appear even bigger than before. So what they did is they stretched the grille all the way from the center all the way to the edges, and also interlocked it with the headlight. So you can see kind of the glass poking out and then going back in, and poking out and going back in. And of course the new C-clamp LED daytime running light, I think, is bigger than ever. So this is interesting, but I have many questions, of course, that probably won't be answered right now. But if you need to replace this, how to do it, and or how much it would cost. But I think overall the design of this is distinctive. You will know that this is a new truck, even though it looks very, very similar to where it's been before. And I think it does look wider than ever because this grille just stretches out almost to the very edge. And the hood is new. Once again, all aluminum body and bed construction. So they're continuing with that theme of trying to save weight with the body and use that capacity for the payloads and towing, and also some additional features that you could put on the inside. And then on the body sides, it's also new. I didn't realize this, but if you look at the front fender, it's new, and it has the new heat extractor vent, and this is functional, so this is not just for show. You can kind of see the little holes here, and Ford tells me that this is really, really functional, so the heat from underneath the hood can escape here, and of course it's stylized for each trim and each class of the vehicle. They touched on the doors here, and then they added this. They added a side step. So you've seen this on some heavy-duty trucks already, like GM, Silverado, and GMC Sierra trucks. Now Ford is introducing their own version of this, and they're also telling me that there's going to be another version with kind of a folding out step. So it's almost like a stair. So this is one version of it. The bedside is also has a new cut line, so new body panel, and then there is a side step on the very back here to reach in. So what does this remind you of? Of course, yes, GM trucks have this, and they put a handhold right here in the bedside as well. And by the way, there's a little Easter egg right here, and they are putting them throughout cubic yards, 3 cubic yards. Not really Easter egg, it's just a little label. So that's quite interesting. All right, you've been waiting for this. Let's talk engines, powertrains. What is happening with the new Super Duty? Is it a hybrid? Is it an electric truck? Well, no. But they're updated engines, an all new engine. I'm standing right next to the new 6.8 liter gasoline V8, which is now the base engine. So we have to say goodbye to the 6.2 liter gas V8. That's now gone. So what is this? Why is this here? So here's what I've learned from the Ford team. They basically took the 7.3 Godzilla engine that would be kind of here in the middle. It's not here at the moment. But the 7.3 Godzilla that came out in 2020, you've seen us test that engine thoroughly, and they downsized it slightly. They modified bore and stroke of this engine to make slightly lower displacement. So why do this? Well, we don't know a lot about this engine still because I don't have horsepower and torque numbers for you today. I'm sorry, Ford is not sharing that right now. But what they did say, they wanted it to be class leading in many, many ways, including efficiency. So I'm guessing somewhere around 400 horsepower. This is just my guess, base. So this will be available on XL Super Duty trucks, XLTs. And then behind it here will be a 10-speed automatic. So right now, if you're ordering a Super Duty now in 2022, there's also the 6-speed. Now the 6-speed is completely gone, discontinued. They'll have a 10R100, so slightly lower grade rated 10-speed automatic. Still a very, very heavy-duty transmission, but it's not the same as behind the Godzilla V8 and the Power Stroke diesel, which I'll talk about next. And this engine doesn't have a nickname. So Godzilla 7.3 is called Godzilla. I want to call this King Kong, maybe, because I'm thinking about that movie. But let me know in the comments below, what would you nickname this engine, this new one? And they're not talking about hybridization, so no hybrid's going to be available, at least not yet in the Super Duty, or any sort of electrification. This is pure gasoline pushrod power. Then of course there's going to be a 7.3 liter. They're calling it updated, so I can't believe that. They already have class leading gas power, 430 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque approximately in the Godzilla engine, and they're making it higher for 2023. And then there is this, the latest 6.7 liter Power Stroke V8 diesel, turbocharged diesel, of course. And now something new. They're now going to have two versions of this engine, a standard output diesel and this, what they're calling the high output diesel. And power ratings, once again, are not available. But what does that sound like? Well, it also sounds like what Ram is doing with their Cummins straight sixes, right? They have a standard output engine, and a high output engine. But what Ford told me is you can order the high output diesel in any Super Duty. So if you wanted a F250 with a high output, you can do that. If you wanted a dually F350, you could do that. I'm thinking, this is my guess now, not Ford, I'm thinking for the high output at least 500 horsepower. Because why differentiate it like that if you're not going to push that 500 horsepower boundary and maybe push even past it? So that's my take on it. Here you could see 2 inlets and outlets for a coolant, so-called water-cooled turbocharger jacket. So the turbocharger, which you can see back here, take a look. This is a big boy. Look at this. This is my fist, and this is the turbocharger housing here. So it's now also water-cooled. So they want to control the temperatures. It's still in the valley. So the exhaust ports are actually inside, and the intakes on the outside. So this is pretty efficient architecture for this engine that they've used before. And also a 10-speed automatic, of course, behind this, the 10R140. So they've updated every engine, it seems. We still don't know all the power numbers, but at least you see where they're going with their power plants. Oh, and by the way, this is basically the only number that they have printed as far as capacities here at the debut event. 43,000 pounds, maximum gross combined weight rating for the F600 chassis. I think this is where it's been before, but of course it'll be maybe a little bit tweaked based on the weight of the truck, etc. So this is truck and trailer combined, and that's a lot of capability. And you could tow that. That means you could tow maybe over 30,000 pounds as well. I wanted to show you this chart because it shows you everything that's available in a nice summarized way. So these are the previous wheels. So now we have the new styles for XL, XLT. The Tremor gets a little bit of highlight, almost looks like a beadlock ring, but it's really not. But I appreciate that style too. Lariat, XLT, and King Ranch. Then of course another style. 20-inch wheel now, we're moving up in size, on and on and on. Different styles now, King Ranch and then Platinum. I love that accent too. So let me know in the comments below what you think about the latest styles. And now it stops at 20-inch wheel for the Limited. And also there's this, the Lariat VP package, kind of like a rotary dial. I think that's pretty cool. And now let's follow all the grills, right? Because each trim is differentiated. XL, I think I really like XL. If it had LED lights, it would be even better, but that's just me. But I like the kind of the no chrome. Also STX is a popular trim for Ford trucks. XLT, now you have the chrome in full effect, a sport look, blacked out package, and you can see how wide that grille is. Now it's really, really visible. Now the Lariat, right here. And there's actually 3 different versions of the Lariat, or 4. I mean, my goodness. Let's keep moving. Blacked out package right here. Now King Ranch, very classic, kind of a Western motif, and another one. And of course the Platinum and the Limited. Boy, which one would I prefer? You know, I think I'm still partial to the Tremor. Let me show you the off-road versions. Yes, the Tremor truck for Super Duty is returning for 23 and beyond. Here it is in its latest trim. Here you see the 35-inch tall Goodyear Wrangler Duratrack tires. These are 285/75 R18s with the latest look for the wheel itself. Of course, 8 lugs. So this package is returning. It's basically a level package. So the suspension in the front is raised just a little bit to kind of make the truck a little bit more level, but also give you a better approach angle. So that's not new. Also, of course, the side step is here. The mechanical Torsen front differential returns for the 4-wheel drive system. It's only available in this 160-inch wheelbase, of course, to make it a little bit more maneuverable. It's still a very giant truck, of course. Diesels and gas options for engines. and different trims. This is a Lariat, so you can also get it. I don't have all the information, all the specifics, but I believe you can also get it in XLT and maybe even some other configurations. But this is, the truck you see here is probably as optioned as it gets. And also, of course, it has, well, actually a new feature, trail turn assist. So you've seen that on the Ford Bronco, the F-150 Tremor, and now this big Super Duty also has that. And by the way, all new electric interior architecture. So the stuff you don't see, all the wiring harnesses, and also the over-the-air updates, Ford calls it Power Up, all those things are also updated. And just as an overview, this is what you get with the Tremor Super Duty truck, including skid plates and the rest. But this is what I'm excited actually even more about. They're calling it the XL Off-Road package. This is separate from the FX4. This is something new they're cooking up. It's basically an XL work truck that updated a little bit and upgraded with a few things, including a 33-inch Duratrack tire. Not a 35, but a 33. And Ford says they really looked at their commercial customers, like the mining industry, oil and gas industry, people who needed off-road capability to get to the job site, and came up with this from the factory. Extra waterfording capabilities, skid plates, of course, locker. So it's similar to the FX4, but they're giving you also more rugged tires. You know what I would call this? I would call this the Super Duty Rattler, because they also have the F-150 Rattler package with the same kind of similar theory. So I'm going to call this the Rattler, and I'm going to, of course, the FX4 still continues. This has been around for decades. Hill descent control, skid plates, 4x4. That's their basic off-road package. All right, take a look at this new interior. This is a limited truck, once again. And let me jump in. Ooh, wow. These seats are like couches. So here's what Ford is doing here. You might say, well, Andre, it looks like they took the F-150, the latest dashboard, and they just plopped it in the Super Duty. Well, it's more than this, because the style is a little bit different. If you notice here, there's a continuous line surrounding this dashboard. This is a 12-inch screen. Let me close this. I don't think these trucks are actually powered up, so I cannot show you a lot of the digital information here inside. But I think it looks really, really modern. I mean, they really stepped up and kind of went beyond where the truck is currently, where it's currently at, including all the luxury features. Of course, this is the most expensive truck. You're looking probably, with all the options, over $90,000 here with the diesel. Pricing is not available yet. That's my estimate. So they redesigned aesthetically. Then they added a heads-up display. So maybe you could see this opening here in front of me. That's the heads-up display here. And this is the first usage of heads-up display in a Ford truck. Not even the new Raptor has this. So that's pretty neat. So, of course, the panoramic sunroof, suede headliner, all the upfitter switches you can imagine, and also maximum recline seats from the F-150. So you can go all the way down, and when you're waiting for something else to happen at your job site, you could just take a nap. Ford redesigned the center console here. It's similar to what it's been before, but a little bit different. So first of all, you can still do 4 cup holders or 2, but they're giving you a little bit more help to figure that out. Then you can put your phone, or even, according to Ford, an iPad Pro in here, like this. And the wireless charger is here, and they said they made this a little bit larger this way. So, and also there's a cubby here with USB-C and USB ports, and you can close this up. Once again, this is a limited trim truck. And also there are little holes for cables. So if you are charging, You can actually put your cables through here, so it kind of integrates nicely into the truck. What about work surface? Well, the center console is about similar to what it is before, although it's lockable. Take a look. Little lock right here. And this one doesn't have the work surface. Let me show you another execution of that. Ford is reminding us that it's been 75 years since the very first Ford F1 pickup truck. Thank you. But I wanted to show you this console. So this is a 6-person configuration. This is similar to what I have on my F-150, except with one huge difference. It's this. It's the work surface, which I wish I had. So there's cup holders here. You could extend this here, this way, and then you can do this. Maybe I can take this off this truck and put it on mine. But then basically you can have your laptop, and it's, well, you're kind of turned, but it's better than just somehow, typing on your, on your lap this way. So it's pretty sweet. So I like that they were bringing this also to the Super Duty, because this is where it's at. This is a work truck in a lot of cases, and even you can have lunch this way as well, so that's pretty nice. Also, this is showing their 8-inch disc screen. What you're seeing here, this interior is an STX, which is basically an XL trim, kind of a base trim with just a couple more touches, stylistic touches. So you have a wide open cubby here. You have a glove box here. You still have your power, which is 120 volt, 20 amp, and a little cubby here. So this is more of a basic setup without a full digital screen. And by the way, as far as fuel tanks and capabilities, they remain mostly unchanged. And if it changes, I'll let you know. The 23 Super Duty will also be available with onboard scales. You've seen this on the F-150 before already, but basically there are height sensors on the suspension, and depending on how you set it, you can monitor your payload with these lights also inside the cab or on your Ford Pass app. So that's very handy, because this truck is used for work. You need to know exactly how much tongue weight you have on the trailer or how much payload you're hauling, so you're not overloaded or you're properly loaded with just about 10 or 15% of tongue weight, right, on your truck. Then they added stuff to the tailgate. I could not think it would be possible to add something to the tailgate, but they have. So, of course, the latest tie downs are here. You've seen this on the Maverick, the F-150, and now the Super Duty. They've made the step a little bit lower. They said the step height is now about almost 3 inches lower to the ground than it's been before, so it's even easier to step up on. And then they blew my mind a little bit. They added a camera to the top of the tailgate, including also sonar sensors, parking sensors. There's 4 sensors in the tailgate on top of it. So when the tailgate is down, you still have vision and also parking aids to help you, and you can monitor all of that in the center screen. Of course, yes, it's additional features. It could probably raise the cost of this truck, but I've been there where my tailgate is down, I'm carrying some lumber or something on the bed, and I need to back up, and I'm used to that camera, and this is adding an additional functionality, although it's on the side. So it's going to be kind of a side profile, kind of an angled view of what it is. And of course, the fifth wheel hitch and the gooseneck hitches are available as well. And one more thing, 2 kilowatt system. So previously, most of these trucks used 400 watt. Now it's 2000 watt system, so you can run your tools. But of course, it's not a hybrid. It doesn't have the 7.2 kilowatt system. But I'm glad they're adding this to the Super Duty. At least it's a beginning. And last but not least, this is what Ford calls their Ford Pro system, and also the upfit integration. So a lot of these trucks, as I'll show you in a second, have cranes, other, dump truck bodies, a variety of things. And now they're introducing this new system where you can monitor a lot of this. Power takeoff, for example, to run a snowplow or maybe a dump bed. Crane status, outrigger status, beacon. This is just an example of what's possible. So fleet managers can monitor this usage, aggregate that data for their fleet, and take a look as far as how their fleet is working. Here's an example of one of these trucks. This is a 550. Also, the F600 is going to be available, which looks about the same as this, but has a little bit higher capacity on the suspension. And also, Ford Pro ecosystem, of course, is to manage each vehicle, maintenance of each vehicle, and also in the future, for example, if your fleet also includes electric vehicles, the charging infrastructure and build out of that infrastructure, and also financing for your work trucks. So all of that is wrapped into a Ford Pro suite of tools. And now we're coming to the end of this video. So at the very beginning I said, is this an all-new truck? And I was quite skeptical because it seemed like a cosmetic update. But after learning every piece of it, almost everything has changed other than the frame itself. So I would call it all new. And pricing is not available yet. A lot of the payload and towing run numbers are not available yet. Horsepower and torque are not available yet. But it goes into production at the end of this year, 2022. And will be on sale in early 2023. So we're just a few short months away from the new 2023 Super Duty hitting your dealership and then hitting your job site. So thank you for joining me. Check out alltfl.com for everything automotive, not just trucks. One-stop shop for everything right there for you.